Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy, it's Wyatt, and I'm coming back at you with another video. Today's video is going to be on my Stamina Templar build. Now this is a really glass cannon build that, it has quite a bit of health, and it has decent survivability just because of how fast it is and the amount of health it has. But by no means are you going to be surviving in the middle of a giant group of people for very long if you're not on your toes for every second of it. And it's a real fun, really anxious play style, but I've had a ton of fun playing it. So let's jump straight into the stats and the attributes. With the attributes, I went with 21 health and 43 stamina because this is a Stamplar build, and as you can see, we are running with 12.5k magicka, 27,000 health, and 24,000 stamina. And now on our recoveries, unbuffed, we have 591 magicka recovery, 336 health recovery, and 1,812 stamina recovery. Now let me put on this buff really fast, which actually I have that buff passively on the front bar on the back bar because of one of the abilities we're using, so that doesn't change, and that stays at 1,812. And our weapon damage goes up to 5,308, and our weapon critical, we gotta do some pointless jabs really fast. And our weapon critical goes up to 42.2%, so this is a pretty high crit build, and that's pretty important because some of our sets rely off of high crit. And then our physical penetration is almost nothing here, but that's actually pretty deceiving because of some of the sets we were running. We get both. From one ability we get minor breach, and from another ability, from one of our sets, we get major breach, so that goes up to about 10,000 penetration right there. And then with one of our abilities we get as much penetration as they have armor, so that leads up to our burst combo hitting pretty hard. And then our armors are pretty low unbuffed. But let's so on our back bar we're sitting at 19,740 for both the resistances, and on our front bar we are sitting at 18,000. And crit resistance is 1,320, but that's because we are a very roll centric build on this. As you can see, rolls almost take up nothing, and this is with what, dodge fatigue 7? Yeah, dodge fatigue 8 is about where you're gonna draw the line. But honestly, if you're rolling that much, you're probably gonna have to die anyway, so. Now let's get into the sets. Okay, so for our sets, we are running with Bloodspawn, but no, we're running with Bloodspawn for our monster set. So we're running two-piece Bloodspawn, and they are both medium and both divines, and that's just kind of amp up our Mundus stone a little bit. And our helmet has a health enchant, and our shoulder has a stamina. And now for the body, we're running Jack of the Night Mother, which is a craftable set, and these are all well fitted. Every piece is well fitted, and the chest is health enchant, and so are the legs. The legs are also a health enchant, and everything else is stamina enchant, and everything is in medium. And now for our jewelry and weapons, we're running Hunting's Rage, and we are running Infused on the necklace with a weapon damage enchant, and Swift on the rings with stamina recovery enchants here. Now for our sword, we are running Precise, and we are running a greatsword with a physical damage enchant, absorb stamina enchant I should say. And then on our back bar we're running sword and board, and this just has to be any one-handed. I prefer powered. You could go defending here, but I like to have powered because I use my back bar as my healing bar. And then our shield is in sturdy just to give us some extra block if we do have the block, which tends to be a pretty big thing now anymore with dark convergence all over the place. Now the thing is that with this you could change to a maul, and you could change this to sharpened instead. This is just what I found to be the best for me, because we do have such high ulti gen with Bloodspawn and passives from killing people that our ultimate is almost always up, so we almost always have a giant amount of penetration already. Let's move on to the race. I personally think that Orc is the best race for this because this is a very mobile build, and the Orc gives us passive movement speed, and one of the racial passives. It also gives us weapon damage, which is something that we want. It gives us health and stamina. It gives us a passive healing effect, which is nice for when we're channeling jabs. Whenever we're jabbing, so we can get some sort of heal. I mean, it's not the best heal, but it's something still, so that's all that really matters there, since we can't usually get any other heal off when that's going on. And then, I mean, other options for this are obviously Imperial, if you want, and Nord if you want to be tankier. Dark Elf can also work, Khajiit can work too, but I think Orc is the best choice for this. And now let's cover the Mundus stone. So the Mundus stone that we're using is the Speed Mundus. Now this is purely for the movement speed it gives us. If you don't like being so fast, you could go opt for another one, such as the Warrior, or the Lover, or even, what is that one? The one that increases, I think it's called the Shadow, that increases your crit damage. You could go for any of those options, and this will still be pretty solid. I like to have the Steed because of the movement speed it gives us, because this is a very mobile build. If you get locked down, you're probably going to get killed. Just make sure that you do that. And now let's cover the food and Mundus. So for the food, we are using Dubious Camoran Throne, and this is because it gives us all the stats we need. It gives us stamina recovery, it gives us max health, it gives us max stamina, all things that we need. I don't think Lava Foot and Sultry Soup, or whatever it's called, is a good match for this build because of how low our health would be afterwards. I mean, you could tweak this to use that instead. So you could take out some of the attributes from stamina, put them in the health, but I don't like rolling with less than about 26,000 health in PvP, especially with Dark Convergence right now, because you have to at least have some sort of health margin to be able to get out of that if you do manage to get pulled by it. Because if you get pulled by it, then you're going to get, and there's a couple of people there waiting for that, you're going to get hammered really hard, and even if with the roll dodges, you're still going to take some damage there, so it's always nice to have the ability to get out of it. And for the potions, I like to use tri-stat potions for like my normal use potions for this build, just to get some of the magicka back, since we do use a magicka based heal as well. We actually use 2 magicka based heals. It gives us stamina back and it gives us health back too. Those are all nice things for this build, and the extra stamina recovery is also nice too. The other potion is Roguish Escape Draughts, and this is mainly to give us back a little bit of stamina, and also the Major Expedition for 11 seconds. The extra speed gives us quite a bit of an advantage whenever we're trying to run away, or trying to close the gap really fast, because we do not have any innate gap closers on this build, and we rely on just sprinting straight up to them. But we do have a knockdown, so I mean, there is that. And then the other potion is Essence of Immovability. Now this is more of we're getting hit pretty hard with like a lot of snares and immobilizations. We can pop this either when we're trying to get away, or if we're trying to finish off somebody. This is a good one to have in case you're running into a lot of Dragon Knights, or if you're dealing with Templars running Living Dark, because of the constant snare that you're going to have on you. This is just a great potion on just about every stamina class there is if you're not running Shuffle. If you decide that you want to change out something for Shuffle on this build, I would not recommend using this, and I would recommend using one of these 2 potions instead. Alright, now let's cover the abilities that I use in this build. So the abilities that I use are, for my first one, is Executioner, and this is going to be our Execute, of course. And then Biting Jabs here, this is the Stamina Morph, so make sure you have that, and this is what causes our crit chance to get up to 42%. This is also our main spammable. If you don't know what it is, then I don't think you've ever fought a Templar yet, because every single Templar in the game uses this ability. It's just, you can't play Templar without using it almost. It's an unthinkable thing. But then we also have Binding Javelin too. This is just to kind of... This is where we're going to line up the majority of our burst combos, because this is going to give us time to close the gap, get our onslaught onto them without them having the ability to dodge it, and also get a few jabs in on them too. And then Power of the Light, of course, because this thing just leads up to some nasty burst, and also gives a minor breach, which reduces their resistances, which is also nice. And then of course we got Rally for our burst heal, and also our buffs for stamina recovery and damage. And then of course our ultimate is Onslaught. This is the two-hander ult, and this gives us penetrations equal to however much their armor is. So this is a massive amount of burst potential right here, and it's not that expensive. I mean, it's not the cheapest, but it's not super expensive too. But we also have a lot of ulti gen with blood spawn, because that thing always procs for me. I've seen some people have horrible RIG with that thing, but for me it's always been pretty reliable, and it's my go-to monster set for just about almost every build I do. Then for our backfire, we're starting off with Repentance. So this is great to have. I mean, you don't need to have it. This is kind of our flex spot. If you do want to run shuffle, this is where I would place it. This is what I would replace it with. But I like to have this just for the little extra heal, and also the stamina recovery too from it, which is also extremely nice. And then we have Honor the Dead. Now, Honor the Dead is going to be kind of like our Magicka-based burst heal. I like to have both a Magicka and a stamina heal, just in case I'm running low on stamina. I can use this. And this is also a burst heal rather than a heal over time, because we got healing over time kind of covered with Vigor and then Extended Ritual, and then even Restoring Focus if we had the time to stand on top of it. There is something else you could use here instead of Honor the Dead, which is Living Dark. I personally do not think this is very beneficial, because we don't have really the health or spell damage here to really make this an effective heal for us. But the only thing about it is that 60% snare is really nice to get, especially if you need to get out of an area. But like I said, it's just that the heal just doesn't seem to come close to the benefits that we get from Honor the Dead, through my testings at least. And then of course we got Resolving Vigor, which stamina build doesn't use Resolving Vigor at this point though. And then we have Extended Ritual and Restoring Focus. Now this Restoring Focus gives us quite a bit of stamina recovery. And then our ult here is kind of a flex spot. You can put pretty much anything you want here. I like to put a defensive ultimate here, so I put Remembrance, because this is a really cheap, low casting ability that can heal me, and if I have to heal anyone else, it's really nice. It gives us my major protection. Also, one of the passives for it gives us what? Gives us 33,000 physical and spell resistance. So honestly, it's really hard to kill us. But another option is you could put on the Sword and Board ult, which I don't even have it unlocked. But the Sword and Board ult is always a solid. You'd want to go for Spell Shield, I think it is, the one that reflects projectiles back. And that's just a nasty ult, and it's pretty low costing too, so either one of those is a great option for it. And that's about it for our active abilities. So now we're going to jump into the passives. So of course you want to pick up all of your Adric Spheres, and you want to pick up all of the Dawn's Wrath, except for you don't even really need this one. I like to pick it up just in case there's anyone around me that can benefit from it, but I only pick it up for the first level, because I personally don't benefit from it. If you want to, you can pick it up the second level too, and then of course everything else. And then of course you can pick up everything from this line. This one you honestly don't even need to pick this one up if you don't plan on reviving anyone. This is just kind of a nice little thing to have in case you do. Now, of course, you want to get all the two-hander passives, and then get some of the Sword and Board passives. I haven't ground out the Sky Shards on this guy, because I am extremely lazy when it comes to running around, and I just PvP non-stop. But if it comes down to it, you want to get the ones that increase your block mitigation, and increase your weapon damage. So these two right here are going to be the most important ones right here, because of the reduced cost of one-handed shield abilities and blocking. And then also the increased weapon damage and the amount you can block. This one, it's not exactly the most useful for us, because we are not a bash build. This one's okay. This one's nice if you are getting hit with a lot of projectiles, but at the same time, I don't want to waste my Sky Shards for it. And this one is also nice too, if you find yourself blocking. But for me, I only block if I'm trying to not get pulled by Dark Convergence on this build. Other than that, and then of course all you need are the medium armor passives. You do not need any light or heavy armor passives, because you do not get any benefit from having those at all, unless you decide that you want to wear heavy armor pieces on a couple of the pieces. I don't think it's I personally wouldn't do it, but I always encourage people to try and take builds and adjust them for themselves. So if you want to do that, go for it. Now, honestly, I forgot to mention this. So Fighters Guild, If you want to, you can run Dawnbreaker or Smiting here instead. I personally think Onslaught is the better choice here because of the massive burst potential. We already have a stun coming in from our Binding Javelin anyways. The AoE stun is nice here, but this is a mainly single target focused build anyways, so that's what I think. Obviously pick up, if you're using anything from here, pick up Slayer. And then of course pick up Banish the Wicked. Banish the Wicked is always good for the extra ulti gen. Make sure you pick up Continuous Assault and then Combat Frenzy on Alliance War Assault. Of course pick up every single one of your racial passives. And then if you want to, pick in the Alchemy skill line, there's a skill that increases the effective duration of your potions, so make sure you pick up that too. Now let's jump into the champion points. So for the champion points, I always say green tree, that's completely up to you. Do whatever you want there. So let's start with the blue tree. So of course, since this is a pretty heavy damage spec, I kind of went for 2 and 2 on my damage and tank, or not tank, but defense. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to start off with precision here, get both points of those, go up to extended might, get piercing, and then come up to Master at Arms and get Master at Arms all the way up, and then go up to Thaumaturge and pick up Thaumaturge. Then we're going to want to come back down and pick up Tireless Discipline, and then go into Staving Death, pick up Quick Recovery, and then pick up Ironclad, make sure you slot that, and then pick up Duelist Rebuff. And then after that, after you pick up those ones, just start picking up all of the passives that you can in this tree. Those are the most important ones. Now, in the red tree, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to start right off at Tumbling, and then we're going to want to pick up Expert Evasion. This is important just so we can get an extra roll every 30 seconds, since a lot of our survivability comes from roll dodging. And then go over to Defiance, pick up that, and then pick up Juggernaut if you can. And then come over to Sprinter, pick up Sprinter, come up to Wind Chaser, pick up Hasty, and then pick up Celerity. And then come over to Hero's Vigor and pick up Hero's Vigor, and then pick up Boundless Vitality. And then after that, just pick up all the passives that you can. At that point, it doesn't matter where you decide to go first, but that's where you should go. Oh, one thing that you can change here is instead of picking up Boundless Vitality, is you could put just one stage into this, into Shield Master, and then max out Bastion if you're fighting a lot of like mag sorts that have a lot of damage shields. So if that's becoming an issue for you, pick up Bastion and slot that instead. Just because I don't know how annoying it can be to try and fight a shield stacking mag sort. And now for a little bit of the playstyle overview on how I play this build. The way I play this build is, of course, make sure you have your buffs up. These are the 2 buffs you need to have up, is Rally and your Rune Focus. Those are really the only 2 buffs you need to have up. Your Extended Ritual, I only use that one if I'm going to be sitting in an area for quite a while and I need that. So it'll be pretty advantageous for me to have that healing over time going for me. Or if I need to purge some effects. Like if I'm trying to get away, I will run away, and if I get hit with a snare, I will pop that down just to purge those negative effects off of me. That's why I don't run Shuffle on this build personally. Obviously, because I have nothing else really to use my magic on. I mean, I use Honor the Dead on me a little bit, but that gives us back a lot of the magic after we use it anyways, so in the cases that we do use it. So the main combo that I use when I am playing with this build is I will put on, what is that ability called? I always call it the wrong thing. Backlash, Power of the Light. Okay, you want to put on Power of the Light on the target, run up on them a little bit, throw a Javelin at them, and then when they're on the ground, if you have your ultimate up, hit them with the Onslaught, and then after that, start spamming jabs. Just spam jabs, okay? If they're a Nightblade, keep spamming jabs. If they're anything else, you can always swap to doing Executioner if they get low enough. But if they're a Nightblade, don't stop doing jabs, because if you stop doing jabs, they're going to try and cloak, and then they might manage to slip away from you. But if you just do jabs, they're never going to get away from you. That's all I got to say. Jabs are a Nightblade's mortal enemy. it's kind of sad how bad jabs are against the Nightblades. But honestly, that's that's pretty much it for the combo for this. This class is pretty much a one-hit wonder. Obviously, you want to try to set up advantageous things, like if you can't get around behind them, start killing them from behind, and then obviously if you're getting hit pretty hard, try and you got to use line of sight. This build is really fast. You can get away from a lot of people just by making sure your heals over times are up by hitting extended ritual or pure cleansing ritual, I mean cleansing ritual, and then if you need to click honor the dead. Make sure you're below, what is it, the 75% health mark before you use that, because it is pretty expensive and we don't have a lot of magicka. But if you do use that, you gain a lot of the magicka back. I think it's 18% of the cost every 2 seconds, over 6 seconds, so that's close to 60%. I think it's like a 52%, 54% recovery of the magicka, so it's like half the cost if you do it like that. I usually only use Honor the Dead when I'm pretty close to dying anyways, and I don't think Vigor is going to cut it. And I think if I just Vigor, I'm going to get hit with an Execute before Vigor heals me enough. But beyond that, that's pretty much how you play this build. Obviously, a lot of this comes into just game knowledge and getting used to roll dodging, because our main survival tool is roll dodging. That's why most of our armor is well fitted. So make sure you do that. I'm going to continue this trend of showing my style. So, oh man, that's the wrong page. But, so, first off, I got to get to, where is it? Okay, the helmets. So the helmet is a costume, and it is the Arena Gladiator helm. You can get this from Cyrodiil by getting 20 Arena Gladiator proofs, or by buying it off the Guild Trader. I think it's a rune box if you buy it off the Guild Trader, I'm not sure. But now the rest of the style is, our shoulder is Sunspire Arm Cops, Wolf Furs Brown, Prophet's Wraps, Bandit Brown, Zuvkin Guards, Bandit Brown, Bandit Brown, Bandit Brown, Minotaur's Jack, Bandit Brown, Wolf Fur Brown, Adamantine Steel, Legion Zero Vigil's Belt, Wolf's Fur Brown, Battleground Runner Boots, Bandits Brown, Wolf's Fur Brown, Wolf's Fur Brown, and then the sword is the Sword of Gigalag. And for the back bar, we're running Symphony of Blades Sword, Tower White Gold, Starlight Gold, Tower White Gold, and the shield is Order of the Hour Shield with Tower White Gold, Starlight Gold, Tower White Gold. Now, that's it for this build. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys give it a shot, and I hope to see you guys comment down below on what you think of the build, and make sure if you want me to do any kind of specific build to comment it down below, because I like trying out new builds. If you want me to try and you know, I'm not very good with magicka classes. I recently remade my Stam DK into a Mag DK just to try it out, and I gotta say, I'm not that good. I gotta practice a lot on my magicka playstyle. But if you guys want to see anything else, make sure to let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one.